Now, you know and love him as our municipal affairs reporter, as well as an esteemed ranker of all things. And this time, Justin McElroy is independently ranking every mall in Metro Vancouver. That's right. So there's going to be a podcast, an essay to accompany the rankings. It's being called Food Court in Session. And the first episode is out now, and it features Richmond's Aberdeen Centre. And Justin is here in studio with us now. And we should point out this is something he is doing on his own time. This is not a CBC project. And Justin's here along with Chris Cheung. Chris is a journalist, an author, former staff reporter with the Tyee, and he was the guest on the first episode. Chris, Justin, hello to you both.
Thanks for having me.
I just want to make clear that I have not ranked cities in BC because I would like to continue having my job and being enjoyed by people throughout all this great province.
Oh, never say never. Never say never. Okay, why malls and why Aberdeen Centre? Why start there?
Well, I think part of it is like anything that is interesting to sort of list and rank and categorize and have good discussions on is that there are so many malls in Metro Vancouver. They're all slightly different from one another. They all fit different needs. Everyone has a different one that they would consider their favorite. It's an opportunity to explore interesting differences in culture and commercialism in public space. And so, you know, when I started looking at what are things in the region that both I haven't ranked and would be fun to do, malls came up as something where it's like, that would be a very interesting exploration. And then we decided to do it as a podcast. And then we went, well, let's go in alphabetical order. And so when I did my research for what a mall is, and we're only counting ones that you can sort of walk into, wander around, have at least 15 outlets, not including the food court. Aberdeen starts with an A. It's first, so that's where we started. But it's a fascinating mall unto its own, no matter what letter it starts with.
A is for Aberdeen. Okay, Chris Cheung, where do you come into this in terms of the history of the Aberdeen Mall?
Yeah, well, I'm just really excited to be tagging along because I feel like Justin has been talking about this for a long time, years, in fact. And you've ranked beer and even burgers, but not malls yet.
Donuts.
Yeah,
donuts. Parks. We also did other public spaces.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Aberdeen's really interesting because we often think of Richmond's quote unquote Asian malls, and Aberdeen really was the first one to open in 1989. I grew up here, but I don't actually have any memories of the original incarnation of Aberdeen when there was a bowling alley. People talk really fondly about the cinema there where they could watch Hong Kong action movies and dramas. But 10 years after it was built, it was torn down by the Fairchild Group because they wanted to rebuild it anew. And so the new one, I would say most of the Asian malls in Richmond are kind of like Asian Mall like 1.0. It's very much like an interior Chinatown where it is very suburban. You've got the classic ingredients like the dried goods that are for sale. There might be a fishmonger, a grocer. This one
very
is
stall based as
well.
well.
Yeah, and it's not too unlike from what you might see attached to like a Hong Kong public housing estate. It is very local for everyday stuff. And the new Aberdeen that opened in the early 2000s was this destination mall, and it does have a lot of that Pan-Asian consumerism. I remember people lining up for the Beard Papa's cream puffs for hours. So that was a brand that they brought over from Japan. Now there's the H Mart. There is a soup curry place from Hokkaido. There's a Chinese mattress brand. So all of these big brands, big names are in the mix. And every time I go, I feel like there's a surprise. And even 2 decades and a bit later, there's still a lot of life going on, and it's been linked up with the Canada Line, and more people can come to visit.
Well, you mentioned the stalls, and you mentioned sort of, dry goods, that type of thing, maybe a fish market. But what about the food court? I mean, you talked about this as food court in session. This is kind of central to malls, isn't it?
Well, I think that's the thing that we tend to think of as the central gathering point for it. It's also, it's a fun play on words. We treat the podcast like court is in session. We have an expert witness each time. Chris, in the case of Aberdeen, we make our verdict at the end of our criteria for placement ranking them. The food court is 10 out of the 50 points. The other 10 points for small stores, 10 points for anchor tenants, 10 points for design, and then 10 points for X Factor, because sometimes you just love them all, but you can't put your finger on why. But, Aberdeen's food court is one of the highlights of it. It is so big. There's so many different types of places you can go. Very few of them are very commercial. Most of them, it's like they have their slot in Aberdeen, and that's about it. And it's incredibly tasty, too. And you think about the strengths of the mall, it's that, and it's that amazing atrium that really just opens up to the heavens, and you have the fountain right there as well. In terms of a gathering place, Chris, you talked about how it's like Richmond's town square in a sense.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons why malls get such a bad rep among people in the design community is that there's this reputation of them being very commercial. The stores are very copy and paste. They're very heavily curated. But it's surprising to see how people use space, especially in places like Richmond that are very suburban. It is this third place that they spend so much of their time outside of home and work. And I know in some malls that might be people playing chess and there's tensions over it. But over here, the politicians have used the mall as a place to do their politicking. I know Poilievre was there last year for Lunar New Year, but also for protests as well. Like this was the place where people had decided during Hong Kong's pro-democracy protests that this is where they were going to gather and sing. And this is a private space, but still there is some organic life happening within it.
Right. Well, what about the mall as the public space, the gathering space?
Yeah, and that's something, we don't necessarily think about in the same way. We talk about outlets opening or closing or a favorite place to go to in the food court, and all of that is true, but part of it is for a lot of people, it is that third space. And so when you start to think about what are the successful malls and why do they work, there's that energy there, whether you're a senior looking for something to do, a teen loitering. I remember when I was a kid in Victoria, Hillside Mall was my mall. Every teenager seemingly had their own mall where it's like that's where you hang out with your friends and do things. And it's a really underrated part of what these malls provide to communities. And so part of the joy of doing this project is really considering how well malls meet that aspect of things, which isn't necessarily in their mission statement, but part of the reason why they are so beloved.
You're making me nostalgic for the Pride of the North Mall and the Rupert Square Mall.
There we go.
When I was growing up in Prince Rupert. It's so true.
And you have some core memories too.
Exactly. No, Chris, the first episode is out right now. What can people expect, and where can they find it?
It's online. It's on the website that Justin has set up.
So foodcourtinsession.ca.
Okay.
And sometimes it'll be Chris. Sometimes it'll be a different guest coming in along with my friend Steve Mazouk, who is co-hosting it. And every 2 weeks, it'll be a different mall.
Yeah, and I've been surprised about how scientific Justin does these. So you can really trust the rankings.
What do you mean? What do you mean about that?
This was the first time I've tagged along, and then I saw the Excel spreadsheet that he had prepared with all of the rankings and the averages. And when I had sat down to record the first episode with Justin and Steve, I had found out that they had actually already been there to scout it out ahead of time.
They did their homework.
And, we have to, ranking is a serious business, Gloria. And so, we have to, adjudicate. And so I said to Chris, it's like the two of us, myself and Steve, gave the anchor tenants just a 4 out of 10 for Aberdeen because we went, it has an H-Mart, it has an Umumu, formerly a Daiso, but, that's only two things. It doesn't have a lot of breadth, but Chris gave it a 6, and so we had a debate over that. It's because this matters when you're trying to determine truly what is the best mall in Metro Vancouver.
Well, again, when you don't have anything to measure it against yet, if it's the first one out of the starting gates too, right? I mean, as you go through all of the malls in Metro Vancouver, it's going to be very interesting about that.
It is, and Aberdeen, came out of the gate with 36.3 out of 50. Now, is that cruelly low? Will that end up being high just because we are going to be mean, rigorous markers everywhere? We don't know yet, but there's 40-plus malls in the region that we will be considering and scoring, and it'll be fun for me in my spare time, because who needs to sleep, to explore these things.
And now that this has gone out, I realize mall managers will now be alerted to the fact that we are doing this while actually in the food court, critiquing everything.
Yeah, they're going to be watching for you on their security cameras. Yeah. It's them. Put on your best show right now. Any teasers or sneak peeks you can share about the first episode?
Well, people can look at it right now. I will say for future ones, Chris will be joining us from time to time, and the next one he's joining us for is the amazing Brentwood. That is the name of the mall in Brentwood right now. But is it really amazing? People will have to tune in to find out.
We know that amazing comes after Aberdeen, so it's got to be number 2. Okay. Thanks to you both.
Thanks, Gloria.
That's Justin McElroy, CBC Vancouver's municipal affairs reporter and ranker of things. And Christopher Cheung is a journalist, author, former staff reporter with the Tyee. You can follow the rankings online at foodcourtinsession.ca.